Hey everybody, Fox 35 Storm Team Meteorologist Noah Bergen here on this 13th of September 2024. Thanks for joining us on our website, our apps, and on our Fox local platform. That's the app for your TV, and also on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for following us there. All right, let's talk some tropics now. We've had a busy season overall, but not in a clear way. We had a several-week break where it might give you the impression it's been a quiet season, but I'll show you the statistics. It has been actually an active year in some manner. To recap the season for you, it started fast. We had historic Beryl, early July, earliest Cat 5 ever, June 28th to July 11th. It caused 70 fatalities and nearly $7 billion in estimated damages. So far this year, despite that several-week break in August, we've now had 3 hurricanes strike the U.S. in 2024. Beryl was a Cat 1 at landfall in Texas. Debbie, Cat 1 in Florida. Francine, Cat 2 in New Orleans. Why is that significant? Well, I'll tell you that in a second. Wind gusts from Francine, 105, Eugene Island, 97, 78, New Orleans International Airport, MSY, 70 in downtown New Orleans. So it produced a lot of strong winds, hurricane force. This is just the 9th year we've ever had 3 hurricanes hit the U.S. before September 12th. So that's why I say this is well above average. This is, again, the 9th time in known history, and tropical records go back to about the mid-1800s from reanalysis and a variety of methodology. 1915, 16, 33, 34, 85, 04. Remember, your Florida climatology there, that was Gene, Francis, and Charlie. 05, Katrina, Rita, Wilma. 2020 was previously the most active year on record, and now this year. So if any of these previous years are any sign for how the rest of the season may play out, despite that several-week quiet spell unexpectedly we had this year, we probably will see a ton more storms yet. So certainly interesting to note the amount of landfalls through this point. Now, specifically for Louisiana, they've been going through a remarkably active period. Florida had this back in the 20s, 30s, and 1940s, where there was like just an all-out blitz of hurricanes hitting the state. Louisiana, since 2000, has now had 8 Cat 2s or higher hit the state. That's a lot. Katrina in 05 is a Cat 3, Rita in 05, Gustav, Laura, Cat 4, Delta in 2020, Zeta, Ida in 21, and now Francine in 2024 as a Category 2 hurricane. So where are the remnants tonight? Well, they're swirling over Arkansas and Tennessee. Gusts in the 50-mile-an-hour range in Memphis last night, Nashville, western Kentucky, southeast Missouri, been gusts 40, 50-plus mile an hour. So there's the center of the low. Now look at all the dry air it's pulling down around the side. That dry air up in the atmosphere will come over Florida later this weekend and next week, and that will help to lower the daily chances for showers and storms. So out across the basin right now, no new areas for development in the deep tropics. This is the outlook graphic for things that may form. There's just one area here, but it's close to the U.S. It's a medium chance of development, 40%. Storms are going to fire along a front this weekend, and off of that, a depression or a storm could form early next week. Regardless, it'll not track towards Florida. It will move northwest, but I personally do think a tropical storm probably will come out of this. I think we'll see these odds go up from the Hurricane Center, and that would get the name Helene. Let me show you our exclusive Fox model. Notice the weekend, a whole bunch of disorganized showers and storms, but at some point, look at the isobars here by Sunday, some kind of a low starts to consolidate, and then once it does, it starts to drift northwest, makes a little landfall here in North Carolina Monday or Tuesday. So some gusty winds, tropical storm force, a couple of tornadoes, some flooding. Yeah, all fair game somewhere between South and North Carolina heading into early next week, and that would be Tropical Storm Helene if it in fact does form. Speaking of the rest of the tropics, there's Gordon right now. 40-mile-an-hour winds moving west-northwest at 10. But if you look, yes, there's a ton of convection with it. You see those white and black colors indicating very tall thunderstorms in the atmosphere. But look how the center is right here. And look how all the storms are displaced to the east side. It's because there's very strong wind shear west to east. So westerly wind shear in the atmosphere, that's the storms are going up and they're feeling that west wind, and the storms are getting blown to one side. That's why the storm is lopsided. That's why it's not going to be much more than a tropical storm, at least for the next few days. Here's the long track cone from the Hurricane Center. It'll start to turn northeast next week. It may actually become a hurricane about maybe 10, 14 days from now, but it will not threaten Bermuda, not threaten the Caribbean or the United States. You see here the spaghetti models indicate a strong consensus of that hard right northerly turn in the middle of next week. So what else is going on out there? Well, the waters are still warm. In fact, they're still at record highs in the Gulf and the Caribbean. There you can see Gordon right here. There's a little tropical wave here. There's a front and a non-tropical low here. Then there's those storms that have been sitting off the coast of the Carolinas. So we'll watch this for the next week or two go north. Then eventually we should start getting more of these waves coming off of Africa later in the month. And I do think we'll see some development in the Caribbean the 3rd to 4th week of the month, sometime in the 25th, 22nd to 30th range, could start to see the Caribbean wake up. So this year, Alberto through Gordon so far, hurricanes, we've had several. Beryl, Debbie, Ernesto, Francine were hurricanes. So Helene is next up. Again, that could form off the coast of the Carolinas later this weekend. Then we get to those dreaded IJK name storms of Isaac, Joyce, and Kirk, which in most years, one of those is going to end up being a big bad hurricane. That's just because of the odds and the numbers. It's how it works. The reason why is because those names often correlate with the peak of the season. So those are the storms we're going to keep an eye out for this year. Isaac, Joyce, and Kirk, then Leslie, Milton from there. All right, so we're going to watch Gordon. We're going to watch Helene. Then we catch a break. And then the end of the month, I think we'll see potentially something lift out of the Caribbean and threaten Florida or go towards the Carolinas. And I still do think that late September into October will be very active. So here's all the storms this year. You can see how, like we've talked about, they've all been closer to the U.S. because of the steering flow over the Atlantic. Now we've had Francine, you see it right here, Alberto and Chris earlier in the year, Beryl earlier in the year, and then there was Debbie that ended up in upstate New York. So that's your latest with the tropics. Here's your forecast for in Florida over the next few days, central Florida. Some storms Saturday afternoon and evening, 90 on Sunday, but notice those rain chances go down next week to just 40% Monday through Friday in central Florida. Still not zero, but the last 2 weeks rain chances daily have been about 70-80%, so that's certainly an improvement in that department. Thanks for watching the Tropical Update. We'll see you next time. For Fox 35, I'm Storm Team Meteorologist Noah Berger.